Sexyy Red, the rise, the rebellion, and the power of being unfiltered. In January of 2023, a 2-minute rap record began spreading across social media with the force of something much larger than a song. The production was heavy, direct, and built for crowded clubs. The voice riding across it sounded relaxed but fearless, as if the artist had never considered asking anyone's permission. The lyrics were outrageous enough to become instant captions, memes, and conversations. Some listeners laughed. Some were offended. Others immediately understood that they were hearing the arrival of a new star. The record was Pound Town. The producer was Tay Keith. The rapper introducing herself to the wider world was Sexyy Red. Within months, her voice was everywhere. She earned her first appearance on the Billboard Hot 100, recorded with Nicki Minaj, toured with Drake, released one of the year's most discussed rap projects, and transformed St. Louis slang into a national catchphrase. By the following year, she had secured her first solo top 40 hit, released another successful mixtape, appeared on WWE television, and turned pregnancy and motherhood into visible parts of her public journey. Collaborations with Glorilla, Tyler, The Creator, Lil Wayne, Bruno Mars, Justin Bieber, SZA, and Drake expanded her reach far beyond the audience that first discovered her through viral clips. To supporters, Sexyy Red was refreshing because she refused to become polished for mainstream approval. To critics, she represented everything they believed was wrong with modern popular culture. Her lyrics generated arguments about sexuality, black womanhood, respectability, motherhood, artistry, and the influence entertainers have over younger audiences. Yet while commentators debated what she represented, Sexyy Red continued recording, touring, raising her children, building businesses, and turning the language of her neighborhood into a global brand. Her rise was fast, but it was not immediate. Before the chart placements, celebrity collaborations, and millions of streams, there were years of small performances, independently released songs, local supporters, social media posts, hair appointments, and regular jobs. The public saw an overnight success. Janae Wary experienced a much longer journey. Janae Nyera Wary was born on April 15, 1998, and raised on the north side of St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is often described through contradictions. It is the gateway to the West, a city whose skyline is defined by one of America's most recognizable monuments. It is also a place shaped by segregation, economic inequality, neighborhood loyalty, population loss, and sharp differences between the lives people experience only a few miles apart. The North Side was not simply the location of her childhood. It became part of her vocabulary, identity, fashion, humor, and musical perspective. Sexyy Red did not emerge from St. Louis trying to disguise where she came from. She brought the city's pronunciation, slang, humor, and neighborhood attitude directly into her records. St. Louis already had an important hip-hop history. Nelly and the St. Lunatics brought the city international attention at the beginning of the 2000s. Chingy, Jaquan, Huey, Murphy Lee, and others demonstrated that St. Louis possessed a sound and identity distinct from Atlanta, Chicago, Memphis, or Detroit. But the city's national momentum was difficult to maintain. For later generations of local artists, success often meant fighting for attention in an industry that did not consistently view St. Louis as one of rap's central markets. Sexyy Red arrived without attempting to recreate Nelly's melodic style or Chingy's polished crossover records. Her music was rougher, louder, and connected to the street rap and club music that shaped her childhood. Her influences included Gucci Mane, Project Pat, Juicy J, 3 6 Mafia, Lil Wayne, Trina, Uzi Badass, Webby, Chief Keef, and Nicki Minaj. Her mother played Gucci Mane around the house, and those records helped establish the kind of fearlessness Janae would eventually pursue in her own music. She grew up with 2 sisters and showed entrepreneurial instincts before she considered becoming a professional rapper. While attending Normandy High School, she braided hair for money. Word spread that she was good, and customers began coming to her. She enjoyed art class and displayed a visual creativity that later influenced her jewelry and merchandise. She reportedly designed concepts for some of the chains that became part of her public image. Her nickname came from her appearance. Because she frequently wore her hair red, people began calling her Red. The word sexy was eventually added, and the extra letter helped distinguish her identity online. What began as a neighborhood nickname became the name that would appear on festival posters, award show stages, chart listings, and collaborations with some of the most famous performers in the world. But music was not the original plan. Her early focus was independence. After finishing high school, she worked at a call center and saved money for her own apartment. She was interested in earning, surviving, and building something of her own. Hairstyling appeared to offer a more realistic future than entertainment. She has since said that she imagined opening a salon long before she imagined becoming a famous rapper. The event that redirected her life began with betrayal. A boyfriend cheated on her, and Janae responded by writing a diss track about him, the other woman, and the friend she believed had helped conceal the relationship. The situation was painful, but the response was creative. She turned anger into lyrics. The reaction was unexpected. Her boyfriend, despite being the target, thought she could rap. He encouraged her to perform the song for other people. Friends agreed that she had something. The original diss record was never released publicly, but it changed her understanding of herself. Rapping no longer seemed like something reserved for the artist she heard through speakers. It became something she might be able to do. She recorded more music and began receiving invitations to appear at local parties. Early offers were small, sometimes around $100 to have her picture placed on a flyer and perform. But each appearance gave her proof that personality could be converted into an audience. The same blunt delivery that might have started an argument in everyday life became entertaining when placed over a beat. In 2018, she began releasing music online. One of her earliest uploads used the beat from FBG Duck's Slide. Another, A Thousand Jugs, transformed the recognizable melody associated with Vanessa Carlton's A Thousand Miles into raw street rap. The contrast was intentionally absurd. A soft piano melody connected to early 2000s pop culture placed beneath lyrics and images that belonged to a completely different world. The song demonstrated an instinct that would remain central to her career. Sexyy Red understood how to combine familiarity with shock. A listener might recognize the melody, reference, phrase, or fashion, but she would reshape it through her own neighborhood perspective. That combination made the material easy to remember and difficult to ignore. Her early work was not technically polished. The recordings did not sound designed by a corporate committee. Her delivery could move ahead of the beat, drag behind it, or land in places a traditionally trained rapper might avoid. But those apparent imperfections made the music feel personal. Listeners heard an individual, not a generic voice attempting to satisfy an industry formula. Between 2018 and 2021, Sexyy Red continued developing her audience. Social media was crucial. Facebook had already allowed her to attract attention through her hairstyles, fashion, jokes, and personality. Music gave that following something around which to organize. She was not separating the rapper from the person. The posts, conversations, clothing, music, and neighborhood stories all belonged to the same developing character. In December 2021, she released the mixtape Ghetto Superstar. The 8-song project included records such as Ghetto Freestyle and Sticky Icky. It did not make her a national celebrity, but it documented an artist becoming more confident about her sound. Another record from that period, Slob on My Cat, drew inspiration from a Memphis rap classic and expanded her reach across the Midwest. The regional influences were becoming clearer. Sexyy Red was from St. Louis, but she was participating in a broader musical conversation connecting Missouri, Tennessee, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, and Chicago. She could draw from Memphis rap, Atlanta trap, Louisiana club records, and Chicago street music without surrendering her local accent. In 2022, important collaborations increased her visibility. She appeared with Sukahana on Born by the River, worked with Rob 49 on Tired, and connected with Summer Walker on Since Dat God Gave You. Each collaboration placed her in front of another audience. She still had not reached the mainstream, but the network around her was expanding. This was the part of the journey that later retellings sometimes compress. 5 years passed between her first releases and Pound Town. During those years, there was no guarantee that her music would reach beyond regional clubs and social media circles. She was learning which lines people repeated, which beats complemented her voice, and how to turn an everyday phrase into a hook. Her greatest advantage was that she understood her audience before the industry understood her. She knew the women who recognized her jokes because they spoke the same way with their friends. She knew the neighborhoods where people wanted music that sounded like the party they were already having. She understood that a memorable record did not always require a complicated metaphor. Sometimes it required a phrase simple enough for an entire room to shout together. By the end of 2022, she had accumulated enough momentum to enter a studio with Tay Keith. Born Britavious Chambers and raised in Memphis, Tay Keith had already become one of his generation's most successful producers. His credits included enormous records with Drake, Travis Scott, Blockboy JB, and other major artists. His production style combined the darkness of Memphis rap with the scale and precision required for modern arenas. On paper, the collaboration made sense. Sexyy Red's influences were deeply connected to Memphis, and Tay Keith's drums could make her unhurried delivery sound even more forceful. But successful partnerships are not created by resumes alone. They depend on musical chemistry. Sexyy Red later explained that Pound Town emerged when she did not have a written song prepared. The people around her pushed her to continue recording, so she entered the booth and freestyled. The performance sounded casual because the process was casual. Instead of building an elaborate story, she delivered a collection of provocative statements, boasts, descriptions, and repetitions. Tay Keith's production supplied the structure. The drums were aggressive, but the beat left enough empty space for her voice to dominate. The tension between the controlled production and the apparently uncontrolled lyrics created the record's power. Pound Town was released on January 27, 2023. It did not initially arrive with the kind of corporate campaign usually associated with a major breakout. The audience built through clips, reactions, club play, memes, and short-form videos. One explicit line became especially famous, but the record's success cannot be explained by shock alone. Thousands of explicit rap songs are released every year. Most disappear. What separated Pound Town was performance. Sexyy Red delivered the words with complete confidence. There was no suggestion that she felt embarrassed or was attempting to prove that she could be provocative. The materials sounded ordinary to her, which made it extraordinary to everyone else. The song also arrived at the right cultural moment. Short-form platforms rewarded music that could produce immediate reactions. Listeners did not need to understand an entire verse before participating. They needed one memorable phrase, one facial expression, or one moment that could become a video. Pound Town contained several. Yet reducing its rise to TikTok would be misleading. The record worked in clubs before many mainstream listeners knew Sexyy Red's name. DJs recognized that the beat and hook created physical reactions. Social media accelerated something the music was already capable of doing. As the song spread, so did arguments about its meaning. Some commentators described Sexyy Red as an example of women controlling their own sexual expression. Others argued that the music reinforced degrading stereotypes about black women. Some critics questioned whether an industry dominated by male executives was celebrating her freedom or profiting from a limited image. Defenders pointed out that male rappers had built entire careers around explicit descriptions of women without facing the same demands to represent their gender responsibly. These debates were not new. Women in hip-hop had confronted them for decades. Lil' Kim, Foxy Brown, Trina, Kia, Gangsta Boo, and Nicki Minaj all faced different versions of the same argument. When a woman describes desire directly, is she exercising power, participating in exploitation, or doing both at once? Sexyy Red complicated the discussion because she did not present herself as an intellectual spokesperson for sexual liberation. She simply insisted that the music reflected how she and people around her talked. She rejected attempts to reduce her entire catalog to one category, even while acknowledging that explicit records brought the greatest attention. Her image also challenged respectability politics. Mainstream entertainment often welcomes black women who can demonstrate exceptional polish, glamour, vocal skill, business discipline, or traditional beauty. Sexyy Red offered something different. Her appeal depended on refusing to distance herself from behaviors, styles, accents, and communities that respectable society often treats as embarrassing. For many fans, that refusal felt honest. She did not arrive pretending that wealth had erased the neighborhood that created her. She still wore the fashion, used the slang, and told the stories familiar to the people who had supported her before fame. The criticism grew alongside the success. Every viral performance generated reactions. Every interview produced another quote. Her refusal to filter herself made her magnetic, but it also meant that mistakes, impulsive comments, and private moments could become public controversies within minutes. The decisive proof that Pound Town had moved beyond a temporary internet trend came when Nicki Minaj joined its remix. Released on May 26, 2023, Pound Town 2 connected Sexyy Red with one of the most commercially successful women in rap history. Nicki's participation offered validation, but it also made strategic sense. Sexyy Red possessed the kind of unpredictable energy that could refresh an established artist's presence. Pound Town 2 became Sexyy Red's first Billboard Hot 100 entry, debuting at number 66. For an artist who had started with $100 party bookings, the chart placement represented a major transformation. The industry could no longer treat her as a purely local or online phenomenon. On June 9, 2023, she released Hood Hottest Princess. The project was more important than any individual statistic because it answered the question confronting every viral artist. Was there a real performer behind the breakout song? The mixtape argued that there was. Songs such as Female Gucci Mane, Looking for the Hose, Hellcats SRTs, Sexy Walk, and Ski expanded her world. The material remained explicit, but it also revealed her humor, musical references, taste in cars, relationships, friendships, and understanding of how people move inside a party. The title Female Gucci Mane identified her central artistic model. Gucci Mane's influence was not limited to subject matter. At his most important, Gucci had turned a distinctive voice, relentless release schedule, regional slang, and apparent indifference to traditional approval into a complete musical system. Sexyy Red wanted a similar freedom. Hood Hottest Princess also drew from Trina, Project Pat, Juicy J, DJ Paul, Boozy, and the club rap of the 2000s. The mixtape sounded nostalgic without becoming a museum piece. The references were filtered through contemporary social media and Sexyy Red's St. Louis identity. Critical reaction was divided but often more positive than her detractors expected. Some reviewers praised the humor, directness, and uninterrupted party energy. Others dismissed the lyrics as repetitive, offensive, or technically limited. That disagreement became part of the project's importance. Sexyy Red forced critics to ask what they valued in rap. Was complexity required? Could charisma, rhythm, humor, and cultural specificity be enough? The strongest record suggested that simplicity was not the same as carelessness. Creating a phrase that thousands of people instinctively repeat is a skill. Sexyy Red's writing relied on rhythm, timing, and recognition. She was not building intricate internal rhyme schemes. She was building moments. Ski became the clearest example. The title came from St. Louis slang associated with calling out to someone considered attractive. Outside the city, many listeners initially treated it as a meaningless celebration. That misunderstanding helped the song. Because the phrase was flexible and enjoyable to shout, audiences adapted it for sporting events, parties, school performances, and social media clips. In September 2023, Ski became the first #1 record on Billboard's newly launched TikTok Top 50 chart. It also reached number 62 on the Billboard Hot 100. A piece of neighborhood language had traveled from St. Louis streets into the vocabulary of people who had never visited Missouri. Her rise during the summer of 2023 became difficult to measure through charts alone. She appeared on remixes with NLE Choppa and DaBaby, joined Latto on the remix of Young Nudies, Peaches and Eggplants, and worked with artists including Finesse 2 Times, ASAP Ferg, Moneybagg Yo, and Lil Durk. Each feature carried the same recognizable voice. She performed at Rolling Loud and other major festivals, where her stage show extended the humor and provocation of the records. The visuals were intentionally exaggerated. She understood that a festival performance needed images capable of traveling online after the music stopped. Her public personality attracted established stars. Drake began appearing with her and eventually added her to dates on the It's All a Blur tour. The pairing surprised some observers, but reflected Drake's long history of identifying regional artists and sounds capable of reshaping the mainstream. Touring with Drake placed Sexyy Red in front of arena audiences. She had moved from neighborhood parties to some of the largest rooms in the country in approximately 5 years. The scale changed, but the essential performance did not. She still communicated as if she were speaking to people she knew. In October 2023, Drake released Rich Baby Daddy, featuring Sexyy Red and SZA on his album For All the Dogs. The record combined Drake's international reach, SZA's melodic appeal, and Sexyy Red's hook-driven energy. It peaked inside the top 20 of the Billboard Hot 100, giving Sexyy Red her biggest chart position at that point. The collaboration also demonstrated that her voice could function inside a polished mainstream production without losing its identity. She did not attempt to sing like SZA or rap like Drake. She provided the element only she could provide. At almost the same moment her career was accelerating, Sexyy Red was privately managing another major change. She was pregnant with her second child. She continued performing while attempting to conceal the pregnancy for a period, using clothing, positioning, and camera angles to maintain the pace of her public schedule. She officially announced the pregnancy in October 2023. The announcement challenged the common assumption that motherhood and a rapidly developing rap career must exist in separate worlds. Rather than disappearing, she incorporated the experience into her public story. Sexyy Red had already become a mother before national fame. Her children represented the private reality behind a public character built around parties, relationships, and exaggerated freedom. Fame made protecting that division more difficult. Fans wanted access to everything, while she wanted moments in which she could simply shop, travel, or spend time with her family without becoming content. Pregnancy did not slow the release schedule. In December 2023, the deluxe edition of Hood Hottest Princess added more music, including collaborations with Chief Keef. The year ended with Sexyy Red established as one of rap's most visible new performers. The numbers confirmed the cultural noise. Hood Hottest Princess eventually earned gold certification, while Pound Town, Ski, and Get It Sexy reached platinum status. But the deeper achievement was survival. Many viral artists receive one season of attention. Sexyy Red entered 2024 with the audience waiting for another record. On February 5, 2024, she gave birth to her second child. 9 days later, Drake released the video for Rich Baby Daddy. The visual used home video-style footage connected to her pregnancy and included the trip to the hospital. SZA appeared as part of the unfolding story. The boundary between music video, celebrity friendship, and personal documentary almost disappeared. The decision reflected Sexyy Red's approach to fame. Experiences that other artists might protect or carefully stage became part of the performance. That openness created powerful connections with fans, but it also introduced questions about privacy. Once the most personal moments become content, reclaiming them can be difficult. Behind the celebratory public images, she later acknowledged experiencing postpartum depression. She had just given birth, her body and emotions were changing, and the demands of the career continued. Her team encouraged her to return to the studio. Out of that period came Get It Sexy. The song's confidence makes its emotional background surprising. It does not sound fragile. It sounds like someone rebuilding herself through performance. The repeated hook, layered ad-libs, and explosive Tay Keith production turned personal recovery into public celebration. Released on March 15, 2024, Get It Sexy debuted high on the Hot 100 and eventually peaked at number 20. It became her first solo top 40 hit and proved that her mainstream success did not depend entirely on Nicki Minaj, Drake, or another featured superstar. The production connected contemporary rap with the snap and crunk traditions of the 2000s. The video continued that nostalgia with a roller rink setting and appearances from figures associated with Southern rap culture. Drake, Soulja Boy, Fabwa, Tay Keith, and others appeared, placing Sexyy Red at the center of a celebration of the music that had influenced her. The record also strengthened the creative partnership between Sexyy Red and Tay Keith. Some people around the producer had questioned why he was investing time in her music. Tay Keith saw what they missed. Her voice could occupy the open spaces in his production without competing against the drums. He believed her lack of polish was not a defect, but the source of her power. Get It Sexy became one of the defining rap songs of 2024. Its success was particularly important because second-year expectations can destroy a breakout artist. Once the surprise disappears, the music must compete without novelty. Sexyy Red responded with a larger solo hit than anything she had released before. On May 24, 2024, she released In Sexy We Trust. The title transformed the phrase printed on American currency into another piece of campaign branding. The cover and promotional images presented Sexyy Red as a presidential candidate whose platform was fun, freedom, and loyalty to her identity. The mixtape contained 14 tracks and debuted at number 17 on the Billboard 200. It included production from Tay Keith and Mike Will Made It, with appearances by Lil Baby, Vaughnoff 1700, Drake, and others. Get It Sexy was the foundation, but the project attempted to show how her sound could develop without becoming unrecognizable. You My Everything, featuring Drake, attracted immediate attention. Drake rapped over the BBL Drizzy instrumental that producer Metro Boomin had created during one of the most discussed rap conflicts of 2024. By appearing on that beat inside a Sexyy Red song, Drake converted an attack into another cultural moment. Sexyy Red provided the space in which that transformation could happen. The track reached the Hot 100 and was later certified gold. It also demonstrated her position within rap's celebrity network. Only a year earlier, she had been introduced to many listeners through Pound Town. Now one of the world's most commercially successful rappers was using her project to respond indirectly to a major feud. In Sexy We Trust received mixed reviews. Supporters heard a focused extension of the loud, Southern-influenced music that had made her successful. Critics heard repetition and questioned whether her approach could sustain a full-length career. Both reactions pointed toward the same challenge. The qualities that made Sexyy Red immediately recognizable could become limitations if she stopped finding new situations in which to use them. Her presidential imagery extended beyond the project. The Sexyy Red for President campaign became merchandise, tour branding, stage design, and social media language. It was partly comedy and partly business. Political symbols are universally recognizable. By placing herself on money, flags, podiums, and campaign materials, she created a visual world that audiences could understand instantly. The branding also collided with real politics. In 2023, Sexyy Red had spoken positively about Donald Trump, pointing to stimulus payments and his popularity among people she knew. The comments produced backlash and were treated by some as a formal endorsement. In 2024, she distanced herself from both major candidates by presenting herself as her own choice. Later that year, she publicly indicated that she had voted for Kamala Harris. The sequence revealed the danger of interpreting every celebrity comment as a developed political ideology. Sexyy Red often spoke through impulse, humor, and personal observation. But once she possessed a national audience, even casual statements entered the political news cycle. Her campaign theme succeeded because it allowed different interpretations. Fans could treat it as satire, a fashion concept, or a declaration that someone from the north side of St. Louis deserved to occupy the center of American culture. Critics saw an artist trivializing politics. Sexyy Red saw a brand that belonged to her. In May 2024, she entered another form of performance by appearing on WWE NXT. She unveiled the new NXT Women's North American Championship and later hosted the NXT Battleground event. The connection was natural. Professional wrestling depends on exaggerated personalities, catchphrases, dramatic entrances, audience participation, and the careful blending of reality with entertainment. Sexyy Red later revealed that WWE had offered her the possibility of a more permanent role. She declined because she could not commit to the physical training required. But she recognized the similarities between wrestling and rap performance. Both require an artist to enlarge a real part of the personality until it can reach the back row of an arena. During the summer of 2024, she performed at the BET Awards and prepared for the Sexyy Red for President tour. Reports circulated claiming that ticket sales were weak and the tour might be canceled. She denied the claims and argued that the reporting was intended to damage a tour organized with the Black-owned promoter AG Entertainment. The episode demonstrated how numbers can become weapons in the entertainment business. Before the first performance, social media accounts can define a tour as successful or failed. Artists must promote tickets while simultaneously defending themselves against rumors that discourage people from buying them. Sexyy Red continued with the tour, bringing Hunkso, Low Shimmy, and St. Louis artist Blake Ayana onto the campaign. Whether every venue met expectations was less important than the fact that she had reached the stage at which her business decisions affected promoters, arenas, employees, opening acts, merchandise companies, and thousands of fans. Her success also earned formal recognition. After being nominated in 2023, she won Best Breakthrough Hip Hop Artist at the 2024 BET Hip Hop Awards. Hood Hottest Princess became her first RIA-certified gold project. The awards did not end the arguments about her talent, but they documented that the industry could no longer treat her as a novelty. The second half of 2024 expanded her musical relationships. Her friendship with Glorilla became especially important. Glorilla came from Memphis with a deep voice, regional accent, and similarly direct approach. Both women had risen rapidly without abandoning the speech patterns or humor of their communities. Their collaboration, What You Know About Me, appeared on Glorilla's album Glorious. The record reworked elements associated with Boozy Badass and Webby's Wipe Me Down, connecting two new female stars with Southern rap history. It peaked at number 17 on the Hot 100 and later received double platinum certification. The success was significant because it was based on partnership rather than manufactured competition. Women in rap are frequently marketed through conflict. Audiences, commentators, and fan communities compare sales, bodies, relationships, lyrics, and loyalty. Glorilla and Sexyy Red created more excitement by sharing the record. They also appeared with Lil Wayne on Tyler, the creator's Sticky, from his album Chromacopia. The collaboration brought together artists from different generations and styles. Tyler's alternative approach, Lil Wayne's legendary wordplay, Glorilla's Memphis power, and Sexyy Red's St. Louis charisma occupied the same record. Sticky reached the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100, giving Sexyy Red her first top 10 entry. It was later nominated for Best Rap Song at the 2026 Grammy Awards. Although the award went to another record, the nomination placed her name inside the most established institution in American music. That progression would have been difficult to imagine when she uploaded 1,000 Jugs. In less than a decade, she had moved from local party flyers to a Grammy-nominated collaboration. Her relationship with Glorilla also provided a public conversation about motherhood, friendship, and women's roles in hip-hop. Sexyy Red described herself as an ordinary woman from the neighborhood who had been placed on television and given access to wealth. That description captured the central fantasy behind her appeal. She did not appear selected because she had been trained to represent perfection. She appeared selected almost at random, suggesting that someone familiar could also escape the ordinary limits placed on her life. By 2025, Sexyy Red was no longer merely a rap breakout. Mainstream pop stars wanted access to the energy she represented. Bruno Mars publicly expressed his desire to create a strip club anthem with her. The resulting collaboration, Fat, Juicy, and Wet, was released on January 24, 2025. The pairing worked because the artists seemed to belong to opposite systems. Bruno Mars was known for carefully constructed performances, classic showmanship, polished vocals, and retro pop precision. Sexyy Red was known for spontaneity, rough edges, and lyrics that sounded as if they had escaped editing. Bringing them together created curiosity before anyone heard the record. The video amplified that contrast. Bruno Mars and Daniel Ramos directed a bright, stylized production filled with red sets, champagne, dancing, and comedy. Lady Gaga and Rose appeared in matching outfits, connecting Sexyy Red to two of global pop music's largest audiences. Fat, Juicy, and Wet peaked at number 17 on the Hot 100. Reviews were divided. Some listeners enjoyed the collision of Mars's showmanship with Sexyy Red's explicit humor. Others found the song forced or juvenile. But the collaboration's existence revealed how far her cultural influence had traveled. A performer once dismissed as too raw for mainstream entertainment had become the person mainstream stars contacted when they wanted a particular kind of authenticity. More collaborations followed. She appeared with Tiesto on OMG for the soundtrack to the film F1. She worked with Central C on Guilt Trippin'. She joined emerging Atlanta rapper Pluto on the official remix of Wim Wami. She appeared in the expanding worlds of Jesse Murph, Summer Walker, Maroon 5, Snoop Dogg, Gucci Mane, and other artists. One of the largest crossover moments came when she appeared with Justin Bieber on his Sweet Spot from his 2025 album Swag. The song entered the Hot 100, further demonstrating that Sexyy Red's voice could travel between regional rap, mainstream pop, R&B, electronic music, and film soundtracks without being mistaken for anyone else. That recognizability was an enormous asset. In the streaming era, artists compete against more music than any previous generation. Technical ability is valuable, but an audience must first recognize who is speaking. Sexyy Red's voice, accent, ad-libs, and subject matter usually identified her within seconds. The danger was overexposure. A distinctive style can lose impact if it appears on too many similar records. By 2025, Sexyy Red faced the challenge of deciding which collaborations expanded her world and which simply repeated an established formula. She also faced the psychological pressure of fame. The person who once wanted enough money for her own apartment could no longer enter an ordinary store without attracting cameras. Fans interpreted access to her music as access to her family. She pushed back against strangers who approached while she was caring for her children or completing normal errands. That tension revealed the two lives inside the Sexyy Red identity. The public character encouraged unrestricted access. She shared jokes, arguments, fashion choices, relationships, and personal experiences in real time. Janae Wary still needed a private space in which motherhood and family did not become entertainment. Her fashion became another extension of the character. Bright red hair, large jewelry, true religion denim, revealing outfits, novelty accessories, and references to North St. Louis created a recognizable visual language. She did not follow luxury fashion by abandoning the clothing associated with her youth. She carried those preferences into luxury spaces. The approach turned consumption into storytelling. Owning hundreds of pairs of true religion jeans was not only about clothing. It represented the ability to obtain everything that had once seemed valuable but unreachable. Jewelry performed a similar function. The chains were trophies, visual jokes, childhood drawings transformed into precious metal, and proof that the call center employee had become wealthy. Her Northside Princess lip gloss brand demonstrated the same instinct. The product names were deliberately provocative and drew from the language of her records. Critics argued that the branding was inappropriate, particularly for younger fans. Supporters viewed it as fearless marketing. The controversy generated attention, and the products sold quickly. Business had been present from the beginning. Before rap, she braided hair. Before national tours, she accepted small performance payments. Sexyy Red's public character sometimes appeared chaotic, but the career depended on repeated decisions about music, merchandise, touring, collaborations, branding, and audience attention. Not every decision was successful. Her unfiltered social media style produced repeated controversies. Comments about politics, natural hair, other artists, and personal conflicts traveled far beyond their original context. In January 2025, she shared an artificial intelligence-generated image involving Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Bernice King publicly objected, describing the image as disrespectful to her father's legacy. Sexyy Red removed it and apologized, and Bernice King accepted the apology. The moment demonstrated that intention does not eliminate impact. Sexyy Red may have considered the post a joke or harmless tribute, but historical figures carry meanings that exceed celebrity branding. Her willingness to apologize prevented a mistake from becoming a prolonged battle. Other controversies were more complicated. Critics continued questioning what her music communicated to young women. Some argued that her lyrics celebrated behavior without acknowledging consequences. Others responded that parents, schools, and communities, not individual rappers, carry primary responsibility for educating children. The argument often ignored the fact that Sexyy Red's records were created for adults. Popularity among teenagers did not transform her into a children's entertainer. Yet celebrity influence does not disappear simply because an artist declares an intended audience. The tension between creative freedom and social consequence remained unresolved. Her defenders also noted the unequal standards applied to black female performers. When male rappers described violence, wealth, drugs, and sexual conquest, critics might condemn them, but they were rarely expected to represent all men. Sexyy Red was repeatedly asked what her success said about black women as a group. That burden reflected a broader history. Black women in entertainment have often been pressured to demonstrate dignity on behalf of an entire community. Those who reject the responsibility can be treated as threats rather than individual artists. Sexyy Red's refusal to perform respectability made her a particularly powerful target. But serious criticism could not be dismissed automatically as misogyny. Listeners were entitled to question repetitive lyrics, weak songwriting, irresponsible statements, or the commercial systems promoting a narrow range of images. The most honest assessment allowed two ideas to exist together. Sexyy Red faced unfair attacks because she was a sexually outspoken black woman, and her work could still be criticized on artistic or social grounds. The debate itself revealed her importance. Disposable artists do not generate sustained arguments about culture. Sexyy Red became a symbol because different groups saw different meanings in her success. For some fans, she represented freedom from shame. Her body, accent, neighborhood, motherhood, and sexual history were not obstacles she needed to conceal before becoming successful. She treated them as material. For critics, that same approach appeared to reward oversharing and reduce womanhood to sexual availability. They worried that the industry promoted Sexyy Red because controversy was profitable. For the music business, she represented something simpler: attention. She could make people stop scrolling, repeat a phrase, argue, dance, or purchase a ticket. In an industry built on capturing attention, those abilities were valuable. By late 2025, she had spent nearly 3 years at the center of popular rap. That was long enough to defeat the prediction that Pound Town would be her only major moment. But it was also early enough that the shape of her long-term career remained unclear. She teased a formal debut studio album, separating it from the mixtapes that had built her catalog. The distinction mattered. Mixtapes often allow experimentation, roughness, and rapid release. A debut album carries expectations of artistic development, stronger sequencing, and a statement intended to last. On December 26, 2025, she released If You Want It, a synth-driven record that looked backward toward the crunk era while preparing listeners for her next project. In early 2026, she followed with Hang With a Bad Bitch, featuring Key Glock. The collaboration linked St. Louis and Memphis once again. On April 15, 2026, her 28th birthday, Sexyy Red released Yo Favorite Trappa Favorite Rappa. The 18-track album ran approximately 48 minutes and was issued through Rebel and Gamma. DJ Holiday helped frame the project like a mid-2000s street mixtape, while producers and guests connected it to the Southern trap tradition that had inspired her. The title positioned Sexyy Red as both rapper and trapper, favorite and outsider, woman and participant in a musical lineage usually narrated through men. The project included If You Want It, Hang With a Bad Bitch, and Richard Den My Ops, alongside appearances and contributions connected to Key Glock, Pluto, ATL Jacob, Metro Boomin, Zaytoven, and others. The concept was understandable. Sexyy Red had always identified with Gucci Mane, Project Pat, 3 6 Mafia, and the mixtape culture of the 2000s. A full project honoring that tradition could place her success inside a longer history. But critical reaction was harsher than the reception given to Hood Hottest Princess. Some reviewers argued that the album imitated old trap sounds without reproducing the humor, hunger, or unpredictable personality that made her earlier music exciting. The hooks were described as less memorable, the production as overly dependent on nostalgia, and the performances as too relaxed. The criticism exposed an important artistic problem. Sexyy Red's greatest strength was the feeling that she had wandered into the studio and said something nobody else would say. A project built too carefully around a historical concept risked making her sound less spontaneous. Hood Hottest Princess had used references as foundations. Yo Favorite Trappa Favorite Rappa sometimes appeared to treat the references as destinations. Instead of using older music to illuminate her own world, the album occasionally sounded like an attempt to prove that she belonged inside someone else's tradition. Yet a disappointing review cycle did not erase the album's value. It documented an artist attempting to understand her place in rap history. It also provided evidence that her audience and critics expected more than provocation. They wanted the charisma, specificity, and humor that had made the earlier records work. Long careers require surviving projects that do not receive universal praise. Gucci Mane, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Drake, and other major influences all released music that divided listeners. The important question was whether Sexyy Red would treat criticism as rejection or information. The album arrived during another period of major visibility. Sexyy Red performed at Coachella in 2026, appearing on one of the world's most important festival stages. The scene captured the distance she had traveled. An artist shaped by St. Louis parties, Facebook attention, and small local bookings was now performing before an international audience. Around the same time, she expanded her community work in St. Louis. Through the Giving is Sexy Foundation, she helped organize a free Easter event for families, including food, activities, and support for children. The name maintained her branding, but the work reflected a familiar pattern among artists who become successful, returning resources to the place that created them. Community work did not cancel controversy, and controversy did not cancel community work. Both belong to the same complicated public life. Sexyy Red could post something impulsive one week and provide direct assistance to families another. Celebrity culture often demands heroes or villains. Real people rarely remain inside either category. In February 2026, another controversy illustrated the risks of building music around recognizable material. Sexyy Red shared a version of Michael Jackson's Beat It, but representatives for Jackson's estate said the use was unauthorized. The situation highlighted the difference between the loose remix culture that helped her begin and the legal requirements surrounding valuable copyrighted recordings. An unknown local rapper might upload a freestyle over a famous song without receiving immediate attention. A celebrity with millions of followers cannot expect the same freedom. Success changes the legal consequences of experimentation. The most painful event of 2026 was the death of Tay Keith. On June 18th, the 29-year-old producer was found dead in his Nashville apartment following a welfare check. Police said no foul play was suspected, while the exact cause remained undetermined at the time of initial reporting. But his partnership with Sexyy Red represented a special chapter. He produced or helped shape Pound Town, Sexyy, Get It Sexy, and significant portions of In Sexy We Trust. Those records created the foundation upon which her mainstream career was built. Their chemistry depended on contrast. Tay Keith brought disciplined, enormous production. Sexyy Red brought looseness and unpredictability. His beats made her casual delivery feel cinematic. Her voice gave his drums a personality distinct from his work with other artists. After his death, reports drew attention to a royalty dispute involving their business representatives. Statements from both sides emphasized that the disagreement concerned labels and accounting, not the personal relationship between Sexyy Red and Tay Keith. Representatives said they had remained friends and had continued working together shortly before his death. Sexyy Red publicly mourned him as a brother and lifelong creative partner. Whatever business issues existed, the records remained. Every time Pound Town, Sexyy, or Get It Sexy played, listeners heard evidence of what the two had created together. His death forced a new question about her future sound. Producers are not interchangeable. Another beatmaker could reproduce heavy drums or Memphis-inspired patterns, but the confidence between collaborators develops over time. Tay Keith understood which spaces to leave open and which parts of Sexyy Red's performance should remain imperfect. Losing that relationship meant losing a musical witness to her transformation. He had been present when many people still doubted her, and he had defended the decision to work with her. By July 2026, Sexyy Red's story remained unfinished. She was only 28 years old and less than 4 years removed from the release of Pound Town. Her catalog already contained platinum records, a gold project, multiple top 20 hits, a top 10 collaboration, and a Grammy nomination. Those accomplishments contradicted the belief that she had become famous through controversy alone. Controversy can create attention, but it cannot force millions of listeners to return repeatedly. Sexyy Red possessed a real instinct for memorable language, rhythm, humor, and collaboration. Her technical limitations were equally real. She did not offer the lyrical complexity of elite traditional rappers. Some projects relied too heavily on repetition. Her most effective songs often depended on a narrow emotional range: confidence, confrontation, desire, humor, and celebration. The future would depend on whether she could expand that range without destroying the qualities that made people care. If she became too polished, she risked sounding ordinary. If she never changed, she risked becoming predictable. Motherhood offered one possible path toward greater depth, but she did not owe the public sentimental songs about her children. Fame, grief, business conflict, St. Louis, friendship, betrayal, privacy, and survival provided other subjects. Her life contained more material than the image through which she first became famous. The strongest documentary interpretation of Sexyy Red is neither celebration nor condemnation. It is recognition. She represents a particular moment in American entertainment when regional culture can become global before traditional institutions decide whether it is acceptable. A phrase can leave a St. Louis neighborhood, become a TikTok sound, enter the Billboard charts, and be shouted inside an arena within months. She represents the collapsing boundary between person and performer. Janae Wary does not disappear when Sexyy Red enters the room. The public character is an enlarged version of traits that already existed: humor, aggression, entrepreneurship, sexual confidence, neighborhood loyalty, and the desire to earn enough money to control her life. She represents the opportunities and dangers of authenticity. Audiences reward her because she appears incapable of pretending, but constant authenticity can become another performance. Once people expect the unfiltered version of someone every day, privacy begins to look like dishonesty. She represents the contradictions faced by women in hip-hop. They are encouraged to be sexual, but criticized for being too sexual. They are told to be authentic, but punished when authenticity violates respectability. They are expected to compete with each other while being blamed for the lack of unity among women. They are asked to raise children privately while audiences demand access to their families. Sexyy Red did not solve those contradictions. She walked directly into them and continued recording. Her music also revived a version of Southern and Midwestern party rap that some critics had treated as disposable. She reminded listeners that fun, vulgarity, and laughter have always been part of hip-hop. Not every record needs to provide moral instruction. Music can document how people talk when authority leaves the room. But documentation is not neutral. The images an artist repeats can influence what audiences consider normal, desirable, or possible. Sexyy Red's impact, therefore, cannot be separated from questions about the industry promoting her. The same companies that profit from her freedom may also limit the range of Black female voices receiving equal investment. Her success should not require every listener to enjoy the music. Cultural importance and personal taste are different questions. Someone can dislike her lyrics and still recognize that she changed the vocabulary, sound, and visual language of popular rap. The most revealing part of her journey may be how little she changed to enter rooms that once appeared unreachable. She did not replace the red hair with a safer image. She did not adopt a neutral accent. She did not pretend her early records had been more sophisticated than they were. She carried the north side of St. Louis into collaborations with global superstars. That continuity created loyalty. Fans who recognized themselves in her before fame could still recognize her after it. The woman who once braided hair for money became the artist wearing custom chains inspired by her own designs. The call center employee who saved for an apartment became a headlining performer. The girlfriend who answered betrayal with a private diss song became a rapper whose voice entered millions of homes. The road between those points was not clean. It included public mistakes, criticism, legal disputes, invasive attention, postpartum depression, business pressure, and the death of one of her most important collaborators. It also included laughter, friendship, motherhood, awards, platinum records, sold-out moments, community support, and songs powerful enough to make entire crowds repeat one St. Louis phrase together. Sexyy Red's legacy will ultimately depend on what she creates next. She may broaden her music, build businesses, develop other artists, deepen her relationship with St. Louis, or continue thriving as one of rap's most reliable sources of party records. She may surprise the people who believe they already understand her. But one part of the legacy is secure. In an era filled with carefully managed personalities, Sexyy Red proved that a woman from North St. Louis could become internationally famous by making the world enter her reality. She did not wait for the culture to become comfortable with her. She made discomfort part of the attraction. She arrived loudly, imperfectly, and without permission. And once the world heard her, it could not pretend it had not. If you enjoyed this content, please share and subscribe.